The hum of the Varelian battleship had returned to its steady rhythm. The enemy scouts were gone, and the immediate danger had passed. Yet the aftermath of the attack lingered in the minds of the crew. The ship's systems were secure, the armor enhanced, and every precaution Liam had implemented had held perfectly. Commander Thara walked through the corridors, her movements purposeful and calm. Her enhanced armor reflected the soft glow of the control lights, each step echoing the confidence she now carried. Humans were often underestimated, she thought, but Liam had proven that the smallest presence could change the outcome of a battle in ways that raw strength never could. She found Liam in the engineering workshop, quietly inspecting the armor and the ship's energy conduits. His face showed both fatigue and satisfaction, a mixture of relief and quiet pride. "Human," she said, her voice calm but commanding. "Come with me. There are matters to discuss." Liam followed her, curious but attentive. They walked through the corridors to the main command deck, where the crew had gathered. The atmosphere was different now, less tense but filled with a sense of accomplishment and quiet admiration. Thara addressed the crew, her voice clear and strong. "Today this ship faced threats that could have destroyed us. But thanks to the skill, ingenuity, and foresight of one among us, we have prevailed. Human engineers are rare in our fleet, and yet this one has demonstrated the extraordinary value of thought, adaptation, and precision." Whispers spread among the crew. Liam felt eyes on him, a mixture of curiosity, respect, and appreciation. He remained humble, nodding only slightly, aware that the recognition was shared by the entire team. Thara continued, her amber eyes meeting his. "Liam, your contributions have gone beyond repairs or enhancements. You have proven that humans, often underestimated, can adapt, solve the impossible, and change the course of events through ingenuity alone. The Alliance would do well to recognize this." Liam felt a quiet pride swell in his chest. Humans had survived and thrived for centuries, often underestimated yet always capable of overcoming challenges through intelligence and creativity. Today, his efforts had shown that even among the galaxy's most advanced civilizations, human skill could make a difference. "Thank you, Commander," he said simply. "I only did what humans do best, observe, adapt, and find solutions." Thara nodded, acknowledging both his modesty and his truth. "And that is precisely why your presence here is invaluable. I hope the rest of the Alliance will see this as well." The crew began to approach, asking questions about the enhancements, the monitoring systems, and the subtle methods Liam had employed to outsmart the enemy scouts. He explained each adjustment carefully, demonstrating the integration of human problem-solving with Varelian technology. Every explanation reinforced a simple truth. Humans were not the strongest species, nor the fastest, but they were clever, adaptable, and persistent. A Varelian technician stepped forward, curiosity in her amber eyes. "Human, how did you anticipate the enemy's movements? We have studied their tactics for years, yet you predicted their approach within minutes." Liam smiled faintly. "Humans often look for patterns that others overlook. We think in ways that combine observation with creativity. It's not just experience, but adaptability. We adjust quickly to new challenges." Another crew member nodded thoughtfully. "It is remarkable. You have changed the way we understand strategy." Liam shrugged modestly. "I only did what humans do naturally. Observing, thinking, and finding solutions. It's how we survive and succeed." Thara watched the interactions silently, proud of the recognition he was receiving. It was rare for humans to earn such respect so quickly, especially among the Varelians. Yet Liam had done more than repair armor or monitor systems. He had changed perceptions, proving that underestimated intelligence could be more powerful than sheer strength. Later, as the crew returned to their routines, Thara and Liam walked through the observation deck. Stars stretched endlessly before them, distant yet brilliant, reminding both of the vastness of the galaxy and the challenges it held. "You have done more than I expected. Human," Thara said, her voice calm but reflective. "Not only have you enhanced my armor in the ship, but you have also shown our people the value of ingenuity and adaptation. Today, humans have earned respect in ways that words alone cannot convey." Liam nodded. "It was teamwork, Commander. Without your leadership and the crew's support, my enhancements would not have been enough." Thara's amber eyes softened. "Perhaps, but humans have a unique perspective. You see what others cannot and act when others hesitate. That is invaluable." For a moment silence hung between them, filled only by the soft hum of the ship and the distant starlight. Liam reflected on his journey. From a human engineer sent to repair armor to a trusted advisor whose ideas had directly influenced the outcome of a battle. The experience had proven something important. Humans, often underestimated, had the ability to rise to extraordinary challenges. Later, Liam returned to the workshop to inspect the armor one last time. Every enhancement, every adjustment had held perfectly. Commander Thera's movements through the ship had been fluid, precise, and effective. The systems he had designed were secure, and the crew's confidence had grown. It was a quiet victory, but an important one. As he worked, he thought of the future. The galaxy was vast and unpredictable, filled with dangers that could strike at any moment. But humans had a strength that could not be measured by numbers or technology alone: ingenuity. Liam knew that wherever the next challenge appeared, humans would face it with thought, creativity, and determination. A soft chime interrupted his thoughts. Thara's voice came over the comm system. "Human, come to the command deck. There is something I wish to show you." Curious, Liam followed the directions to the main deck. There he found Thera addressing the senior officers. She turned as he approached, a small smile on her face. "Human, the Alliance Council has requested a full report on the battle and your contributions. They wish to recognize your ingenuity and its impact on our success." Liam's eyes widened slightly. "Recognition from the Alliance?" "Yes," Thara replied. "They have heard of the human engineer who enhanced my armor, improved the ship's defenses, and helped secure a decisive victory. Your skills, human, are now acknowledged not just by me, but by the entire Alliance." The news brought a quiet sense of pride to Liam. Humans were often underestimated, yet today he had proven that intelligence, adaptability, and ingenuity could earn respect across species, across the galaxy. "Thank you, Commander," he said sincerely. "I only did what I could, using what humans do best." Thara inclined her head. "And that is precisely why you have earned this recognition. Humans may be underestimated, but today you have shown your true value. Remember this, human. The Alliance will benefit greatly from your presence." Liam looked around the deck at the crew, the ship, and the distant stars. A sense of purpose filled him. Today had been a victory, not just in battle but in perception. Humans, often overlooked, had the power to influence events in ways no one expected. "Commander," Liam said quietly, "I will continue to do my best for the ship, for the crew, and for the Alliance." Thara's amber eyes met his. "I know you will, human. And I trust that wherever humans go, they will continue to prove their worth." Today is only the beginning. The stars outside the ship continued to shine, distant yet full of possibilities. Inside, a human engineer worked quietly, ensuring that the vessel was ready for whatever the galaxy might bring. His ingenuity had changed the course of a battle, earned respect, and proven the underestimated strength of his species. And as Liam prepared for the next mission, he understood something profound. Humans were not the strongest, not the fastest, but they were clever, adaptable, and persistent. And sometimes that was more than enough to change the fate of the galaxy. The Varelian battleship moved steadily through space, secure, prepared, and stronger than ever. Humanity's place in the Alliance had been solidified, not through numbers or power, but through thought, creativity, and unwavering determination. Liam returned to the workshop one last time that cycle, looking at the repaired armor, the enhanced systems, and the quiet energy of the ship. Everything was ready. The battle had been won, respect had been earned, and the galaxy awaited. And in the silence of the ship, he smiled. Humans had proven once again that even the smallest presence could make the biggest difference. The adventure was far from over. But today, humanity had shown its strength, not with weapons, but with ingenuity. And that strength, underestimated for so long, would echo across the stars. Lyra stood at the edge of the observation deck, watching the twin suns of Aelora sink behind the horizon. The sky blazed with orange and purple streaks, casting long shadows across the city. The colony beneath her was alive with movement, people hurrying to their homes, small ships landing at the spaceports, and drones delivering supplies across the streets. To anyone else, it was a world of order and comfort, a place where life followed a careful plan. But to Lyra, it felt empty. She had been offered the opportunity of a lifetime, a position as chief engineer aboard the Elysium, the most advanced starship in the human fleet. It was a dream that most engineers only imagined in their wildest thoughts. Her designs could change the way humanity traveled through the stars. The Elysium would explore unknown galaxies, study new planets, and test technologies that could redefine civilization itself. Her name could be remembered across the colonies for generations. Yet, even as she held the offer in her hands, her heart was elsewhere. Kale. The pilot stationed on the distant outpost of Tharos 9 was not just another person to her. He was everything she had ever hoped to find in a companion, brave, clever, and unshakably kind. Every message they exchanged, every brief visit during rotation, had deepened her affection. The thought of leaving him, of continuing her life without him, made her chest ache. Lyra realized she was standing at a crossroads. One path led to glory, respect, and the certainty of achievement. The other led to uncertainty, danger, and the chance to be with the person she loved. She closed her eyes and felt the faint hum of the city beneath her. The life she had built here among colleagues, friends, and family seemed suddenly distant. How many times had she stayed late in the lab, watching the stars through the observation dome, dreaming of new horizons? And yet none of those horizons mattered if she had to face them without Kale. Her decision crystallized in that quiet moment. She would leave everything behind. Not because she had no ambition, but because some things were more valuable than ambition. Love, she realized, was worth more than medals, accolades, or a place in history. Lyra returned to her quarters to make her preparations. She packed only what she could carry, a small set of tools, a few personal items, and a handful of keepsakes from home. Each object reminded her of what she was leaving behind. The letters from her mentor, the small crystal her mother had given her, the schematic notebook filled with ideas that would now remain unfinished. The act of packing was strangely painful and liberating at the same time. She was leaving a life built over decades, but she was also stepping into something that felt alive, urgent, and true. Late that night, under the pale light of Elora's moons, Lyra slipped out of the colony. She moved quickly and quietly, avoiding the patrol drones and automated security checkpoints. Her destination was a freighter preparing for an interstellar route to Tharos 9. Stowing away was risky, but it was the only way she could reach Kale without drawing the attention of the colony authorities. They would never approve of her decision. Rules, orders, and bureaucracy meant nothing to her now. Love had guided her steps, and she trusted it more than any system or regulation. The freighter was massive, a hulking ship designed for cargo and endurance rather than speed or elegance. Its hull gleamed under the moonlight, and the docking bay doors hissed open, inviting her in. She slipped through a narrow maintenance tunnel, her fingers tracing the cold metal walls as she moved. Every sound, every creak of the hull, every distant thrum of the engines made her pulse race. But fear was nothing compared to determination. She had chosen this path, and there was no turning back. Hours passed in darkness with only the faint glow of emergency lights to guide her. Lyra found a small compartment near the aft of the ship, just large enough to hide and keep her presence secret. She settled in, feeling the gentle vibration of the ship's engines through the floor. As the freighter lifted off the colony and entered the void of space, she allowed herself a quiet smile. She was finally moving toward Kyle, toward a future that belonged to no one but them. Days turned into weeks as the freighter traveled through uncharted regions. The journey was not without peril. Lyra witnessed cosmic phenomena that left her breathless. The swirling colors of a gas storm, the silent drift of asteroid fields, and the remnants of ancient ships, abandoned and broken. She recorded each observation in her notebook, noting that even in danger there was beauty in the unknown. Each challenge tested her resolve. She learned to navigate the maintenance tunnels, to avoid the ship's sensors, and to manage her rations carefully. Every small success bolstered her confidence. She also spent time reflecting on humanity itself. Alone among the stars, she realized how fragile and resilient humans were at the same time. Humans could build cities, explore planets, and travel between stars, yet they were vulnerable to fear, doubt, and loss. She understood that it was precisely this mixture of courage and vulnerability that made humans remarkable. Her own decision, to leave everything she knew, was a testament to that spirit. One night, as the freighter passed a glowing nebula, Lyra opened a small viewport to stare at the swirling colors outside. She imagined Kale standing somewhere on Tharos 9, watching his own sky, unaware of the length she was going to reach him. Her heart ached with longing, but it also burned with hope. She whispered his name into the silence of the ship. Kale. The stars seemed to shimmer in response, as if acknowledging her determination. As the weeks continued, Lyra's skills as an engineer came into play. She repaired minor malfunctions in the freighter's systems when the crew was unaware, keeping the ship running smoothly. Her ingenuity, adaptability, and intuition reminded her why humans were capable of surviving in the most extreme conditions. AI and automated systems were efficient, but they lacked the spark of human creativity. In her solitude, Lyra realized that her journey was more than a personal mission. It was proof that human spirit and love could overcome even the vast distances of space. During one quiet evening in the maintenance compartment, Lyra allowed herself to dream. She pictured arriving at Tharos 9, seeing Kale for the first time in months, and sharing the simple joys of life together. She imagined building a small home on the outpost, fixing machines, exploring nearby moons, and training young recruits with Kale. These visions filled her with a warmth that no accomplishment or recognition could match. The stars outside were vast, cold, and infinite, yet her heart was full and alive. And so with each passing day, Lyra moved closer to her goal. She faced storms, isolation, and uncertainty with courage. She knew the journey ahead would not be easy, and that the unknown held dangers she could not yet imagine. But she also knew that love had led her this far, and love would carry her further. Finally, as the freighter approached the coordinates of Tharos 9, Lyra allowed herself a moment to breathe. The moon appeared on the horizon, small and barren, yet full of possibility. She tightened her grip on her tools, checked her supplies, and prepared for the final stage of her journey. Everything she had left behind, the colony, the accolades, the life she had known, was gone. Ahead lay the unknown, the person she loved, and a future she would build with her own hands. Lyra whispered one last time, her voice firm and full of determination. "I'm coming, Kale." And with that, she stepped into the next chapter of her life. A chapter written not by rules or orders, but by the unshakable power of the human heart. The freighter hummed steadily through the void of space. Outside, stars glimmered like scattered diamonds, and the vast darkness stretched endlessly in every direction. Lyra sat in her small hiding compartment, listening to the soft vibrations of the ship and feeling the subtle pull of the engines. Each hour brought her closer to Kale, closer to the life she had chosen over comfort and recognition. But the journey was far from simple. Space was unpredictable. Even the most careful calculations could not prepare a traveler for the surprises hidden in the darkness. One morning, as Lyra adjusted a panel in the maintenance corridor, the ship jolted violently. Warning lights flashed red and the engines emitted a low, uneasy hum. The freighter had entered a region of fluctuating energy, an invisible storm that rippled through space like a giant wave. Lyra's heart raced. The crew seemed unaware of the growing instability, focused on routine tasks. She knew she could not simply wait for disaster to strike. Using her engineering skills, she traced the energy surges to a weak junction in the ship's power conduits. With careful hands, she rerouted energy through backup systems, stabilizing the freighter just enough to ride out the storm. Her solution was unconventional, relying on intuition rather than standard protocols, but it worked. The experience reminded her why humans were remarkable. Technology could be precise, predictable, and efficient, but it lacked creativity. It was human thought, daring to act beyond rules and expectations, that often made survival possible. Lyra smiled quietly to herself, feeling proud of what she had accomplished, yet she never allowed herself to relax completely. The universe was vast and its dangers were many. Days passed and the freighter continued its steady course. Lyra spent her time observing the cosmos, noting strange formations and phenomena that no map had ever recorded. She marveled at nebulae that glowed with colors she had never imagined, drifting clusters of asteroids and distant stars exploding in silent supernovas. The universe seemed alive, mysterious, and beautiful, and Lyra felt a connection to it that went beyond her mission. One evening, the freighter passed a small abandoned vessel drifting silently through space. Its hull was scarred and broken, evidence of long-forgotten conflict. Curiosity pulled Lyra closer. She carefully inspected the vessel, noting the clever engineering that had allowed it to survive so long despite damage. She recorded every detail, imagining the people who had once called it home. Their journey had ended here, but their ingenuity remained frozen in metal and circuits. Lyra felt a quiet kinship with them. Like her, they had dared to venture into the unknown. Isolation weighed heavily on her as well. Weeks without real conversation, without shared experiences, made her long for Cale more intensely. She replayed their messages in her mind, imagining his voice, his smile, and the way he had always encouraged her. These memories were a comfort and a reminder of why she had chosen this path. Love, she realized, was a guiding force stronger than fear, stronger than doubt. It had pushed her beyond every obstacle so far, and it would continue to guide her until she reached him. The freighter entered a narrow corridor of space between two massive asteroid fields. The sensors flashed warnings of drifting rocks, some large enough to crush the ship. Lyra knew she could not stay hidden this time. She ventured into the control deck under the cover of night, offering her knowledge to the crew. Using her understanding of gravitational fields and momentum, she suggested minor course adjustments that would keep the freighter safe. The crew followed her guidance, and the ship passed through the field without a scratch. Lyra felt a surge of pride and relief. Even though she was a stowaway, her abilities had proven essential. Humans were adaptable, resourceful, and willing to take risks when necessary. She reflected on how often her species had survived impossible odds through determination and ingenuity. Every challenge in space seemed to confirm what she already believed. Humans were capable of extraordinary feats, especially when driven by passion and purpose. One night, as she rested in her compartment, the freighter entered a region bathed in the soft glow of a distant star cluster. The view was breathtaking, painting the darkness with purples, blues, and golds. Lyra sat quietly, sketching the scene in her notebook. She imagined what it would be like to explore these stars with Kyle, flying across the void together, discovering new worlds and facing challenges side by side. The thought brought warmth to her heart. Suddenly, the ship shuddered again, stronger than before. Alarms blared, and the freighter's systems flickered. A rogue energy wave, much like the earlier storm but more intense, had struck them. This time, the freighter's automated systems struggled to compensate. Lyra acted quickly, tracing the surges and rerouting power through manual overrides. Sweat dripped from her brow as she worked, her hands steady despite the chaos around her. She tapped into every lesson she had learned in the labs, every simulation she had ever run, and her instinct guided her. Slowly, the freighter stabilized. The crew looked around, confused and impressed, unaware of how close they had come to disaster. Lyra returned to her compartment exhausted but satisfied. The experience had tested her in ways she had not anticipated, yet it also reaffirmed her belief in human resilience. When faced with unknown dangers, humans could innovate, adapt, and survive, and she, motivated by love, had done exactly that. Days turned into weeks, and the freighter neared Theros 9. Lyra spent her time preparing for the next phase of her journey. She studied maps of the outpost, familiarized herself with Cale's routine, and planned ways to ensure her arrival would be safe. The anticipation made her heart race. She could almost see Kyle waiting, unaware of the lengths she had gone to reach him. Every calculation, every preparation was fueled by hope and determination. During one quiet moment, Lyra allowed herself to imagine their reunion. She pictured Cale's surprised smile, the warmth of his hand in hers, and the feeling of being finally home. The vision gave her courage, even as dangers lurked ahead. She reminded herself that the journey was more than a test of skill. It was a test of character. Every challenge she overcame reinforced her belief in human potential. Adaptability, courage, and determination were traits that set humans apart in the vastness of space. As the freighter approached the coordinates of Theros 9, Lyra felt a mixture of excitement and anxiety. The barren moon lay ahead, small against the backdrop of distant stars, yet full of possibility. She checked her tools, ensured her supplies were ready, and made a plan for the final stage. She would need to navigate the freighter's docking systems, avoid detection, and finally reach Cale. The risks were great, but the reward, love, connection, and a shared future, was far greater. In the quiet of her compartment, Lyra whispered into the stillness of space. "Almost there, Cale. Almost." Her words were carried only by the hum of the ship and the endless void beyond, but they gave her strength. She had left everything behind, home, career, comfort, but she had gained a purpose that no accolade could match. The journey had tested her, challenged her, and changed her. And now she was ready for the next chapter, ready to face whatever lay ahead, and ready to embrace the future she had chosen. With the moon of Theros 9 growing larger in the viewport, Lyra's heart swelled with determination. She had traveled across light years, survived cosmic storms, and relied on nothing but her wits, skill, and love. She knew the most challenging part of her journey was still ahead. But she was no longer just an engineer or a stowaway. She was a human who dared to follow her heart. A human who proved that courage and ingenuity could conquer the unknown, and a human who would not be stopped by distance or danger. As the freighter descended toward the outpost, Lyra took a deep breath. She could feel the weight of the journey behind her, but also the excitement of what was to come. Soon she would see Kale, and the distance, the danger, and the sacrifices would all be worth it. She adjusted her tools one last time, straightened her jacket, and whispered with quiet confidence, "I am ready." And so, the journey continued not just across space but toward love, connection, and the undeniable strength of the human spirit. The barren moon of Theros 9 loomed closer with each passing moment, its gray surface dotted with small outposts and landing pads. The freighter's engines hummed steadily as Lyra carefully guided it toward the hidden docking bay. Her hands moved with precision, recalling every detail she had studied from the schematics of Kale's outpost. After months of travel and countless dangers, the final step of her journey demanded caution, patience, and skill. As the freighter touched down, Lyra held her breath. The bay doors slid open with a hiss, revealing the dimly lit interior of the outpost. Workers moved quickly, unaware of the visitor hiding among the cargo. Lyra slipped through the narrow maintenance corridors, keeping to the shadows, her heart pounding with anticipation. She had come so far, risked so much, and now she was finally here. Kyle's voice echoed in her mind with every step. She remembered the last message he had sent before her departure. "I will be here no matter what. Trust in us." Those words had kept her moving across light years, through storms, and into isolation. Now the words became a promise she was determined to fulfill. She paused at the edge of a central hub, peeking around a corner. There he was. Kale, taller than she remembered, moving with practiced ease as he checked instruments and communicated with the other personnel. His uniform, marked with the insignia of the human fleet, gleamed under the lights. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. Lyra's chest tightened and her lips curved into a smile. She had found him, but her joy was short-lived. The sensors on Kale's console beeped urgently. Lyra froze as she listened to the voice of the communications officer reporting a distant threat. An unknown alien fleet had been detected approaching the moon. Their numbers were unclear, but the potential danger was enormous. The outpost had only a handful of ships and limited defensive capabilities. If the fleet was hostile, the small human settlement could be destroyed before help arrived. Lyra's mind shifted immediately from reunion to strategy. Months of survival, engineering, and intuition had prepared her for this moment. She moved quietly, finding a control panel that allowed her to access auxiliary systems. She began rerouting power, enhancing shields, and activating emergency protocols. Her actions were subtle but precise, designed to strengthen the outpost's defenses without drawing attention. Kale's attention was fully on the incoming threat. "All units prepare for evasive maneuvers," he ordered calmly but firmly. "Focus on defense, protect civilians, and report any anomalies." His voice carried authority and reassurance, a steady anchor in the midst of uncertainty. Lyra watched him, feeling a mix of admiration and relief. He had always been capable, but now, seeing him in action, she understood why she had risked everything to be here. The alien fleet grew closer. Through the observation windows, Lyra could see glimmers of sleek, dark ships moving in formation. Their shapes were unlike anything humans had encountered before, with reflective surfaces and angular designs that made them difficult to target. Even in the face of this threat, Lyra did not panic. She analyzed the fleet's movement, predicting likely attack patterns based on physics and trajectory. She joined Kale at the central console, careful to stay out of the way but ready to assist. "I can help optimize the defense grid," she whispered. "We can reroute energy to shields and enhance targeting for automated drones." Kale glanced at her, his eyes widening in surprise before recognition dawned. "Lyra, you're here. And safe." He reached out, but Lyra shook her head, motioning for him to focus. "Later we have a problem. Together they worked quickly. Lyra's technical expertise complemented Kale's tactical experience. She rerouted energy, boosted shields around critical sections, and improved the precision of automated drones. The outpost's defenses, modest at first, began to hum with newfound strength. Lyra marveled at how humans could adapt, innovate, and collaborate under pressure. Where advanced technology alone might fail, human creativity and determination filled the gaps. The aliens struck first. A wave of energy pulses swept across space, aimed directly at the outpost. Lyra felt the vibrations through the floor, and sparks flickered along the hull. She reacted instantly, adjusting power channels to absorb the impact and minimize damage. Kale piloted one of the few available ships, intercepting some of the attackers while coordinating with ground defenses. Together they formed a seamless team, human ingenuity against alien technology. Despite the danger, Lyra could not suppress a smile. The thrill of problem-solving under pressure, of using her skills to protect those she cared about, reminded her why humans were remarkable. Humans could endure hardship, think creatively, and act decisively even in the face of overwhelming odds. Every pulse of energy she redirected, every drone she guided, was proof of that resilience. Hours passed in a tense rhythm. The alien fleet pressed forward, probing weaknesses, testing defenses, but Lyra and Kale anticipated every move. They adapted, countered, and adjusted, turning the outpost into a fortress of human ingenuity. Every challenge was met with a solution, every threat met with courage. Lyra's presence, once hidden and secret, had become critical to survival. Finally, after a long and exhausting engagement, the aliens withdrew. Their fleet moved beyond the moon, disappearing into the void as suddenly as it had arrived. The outpost was battered but intact. Lyra and Kyle breathed heavily, surveying the damage and the relief on the faces of their team. Civilians had been unharmed and critical systems remained operational. The threat had passed and human resilience had prevailed. Kale turned to Lyra, eyes wide with awe and gratitude. "You saved us," he said simply. His voice carried the weight of respect, admiration, and deep personal relief. Lyra shook her head, smiling. "We saved each other," she replied. "Humans survive when they work together, when they adapt, when they care about more than themselves." For a moment, the danger faded, leaving only the quiet hum of machinery and the distant stars. Lyra felt a surge of pride, not just in herself but in humanity. They had faced the unknown and prevailed, not because of advanced weapons or perfect AI, but because of courage, intelligence, and heart. These were the qualities that defined her species, qualities she had carried across light years to be here. The night fell over the outpost, and Lyra finally allowed herself to rest. She found a small chamber to lie down in, exhausted but satisfied. She thought about Kale, about the months of travel, and about the dangers they had just survived together. Her heart swelled with emotion. She had risked everything for love, and now, love had guided her through trials that tested every skill and every instinct she possessed. As she drifted into a light sleep, Lyra reflected on the journey so far. Each obstacle, each danger had been a lesson in human ingenuity and determination. The universe was vast, full of challenges that no single being could face alone, but humans had a unique power, the ability to think, adapt, and act with purpose. Lyra had proven that even in isolation, even when the odds were against them, humans could prevail. And with Kale by her side, that power was amplified. The next morning, Lyra awoke to the soft hum of the outpost. Workers moved about repairing minor damage, unaware of how close disaster had come. She found Kale waiting for her, offering a small smile. "We need to prepare for anything," he said. "This may not be the last time they come." Lyra nodded. "Then we'll be ready, together." They spent the day fortifying defenses, checking systems, and planning contingencies. Lyra's knowledge of advanced engineering allowed them to improve the outpost's efficiency, while Kale trained his team in tactical maneuvers and quick decision-making. Every adjustment, every improvement, reminded them both that humans could overcome challenges with collaboration, creativity, and courage. As the twin moons of Theros 9 rose in the sky, Lyra stood beside Kale, gazing at the horizon. The battle had been won, but the universe remained unpredictable. Yet she felt no fear. She had left everything behind, survived incredible dangers, and arrived here with Kyle. She had proven to herself that love, combined with human ingenuity, could overcome even the vastness of space. For the first time in months, she allowed herself to hope. The outpost, once a simple military station, had become a symbol of human resilience. Lyra had joined it not just as a visitor, but as a vital part of its survival. She realized that this was only the beginning. There would be more challenges, more threats, and more opportunities to prove the strength of humanity. And she would face them all, with Kale by her side, confident that together they could meet whatever the universe had in store. The battle was over. The alien fleet had retreated and the outpost of Theros 9 had survived. The moons hung low in the sky, casting silver light over the barren landscape. For Lyra and Kale, the quiet that followed was both a relief and a promise, a chance to build something lasting, a life together away from fear and uncertainty. The outpost, once a simple station of research and surveillance, now felt alive with purpose. Engineers, pilots, and civilians moved efficiently, repairing systems, sharing knowledge, and preparing for any future challenges. Lyra walked among them, offering guidance and encouragement. She had left everything behind, her home, her career, the accolades she might have earned, but in doing so, she had discovered something far greater: belonging, purpose, and the chance to shape the future. Kyle joined her in the central hub, leaning against a console as he watched the crew work. "You've changed everything," he said quietly, almost in awe. "This outpost isn't just surviving, it's thriving." Lyra smiled, her eyes reflecting the soft glow of the control panels. "Humans adapt," she said simply. "We survive, we build, and we grow stronger, together." The weeks that followed were busy but fulfilling. Lyra and Kale began to train a team of young recruits, teaching them not just the technical skills necessary to run the outpost, but also the lessons they had learned: courage, ingenuity, and the importance of working as a team. Every simulation, every exercise reinforced the human capacity to face danger with intelligence and creativity. Lyra felt a deep satisfaction in seeing the trainees gain confidence, learning to rely on their own resourcefulness. Beyond the outpost walls, Lyra explored the moon with Kale. They climbed rocky ridges, mapped hidden caves, and studied the strange, lifeless landscape. Even in such a barren place, they discovered beauty: the patterns of light on stone, the quiet hum of the thin atmosphere, and the distant glow of stars that seemed closer than anywhere else in the universe. Lyra marveled at the thought that humans could find wonder and hope, even in the harshest environments. One evening, as the twin moons rose, Lyra and Kyle stood on a ridge overlooking the outpost. The air was still, the sky ablaze with stars, and for a moment they simply enjoyed the quiet. Kale reached for Lyra's hand, intertwining his fingers with hers. "I can't believe you left everything behind for me," he said softly. "It's incredible." Lyra squeezed his hand gently. "I didn't leave because of you," she replied. "I left because love is stronger than anything else, and because humans are stronger than anything the universe throws at us." Her words carried weight, not just between them, but in the universe itself. Lyra had proven that human courage, determination, and ingenuity were forces to be reckoned with. She had faced cosmic storms, navigated uncharted space, survived isolation, and overcome threats that could have destroyed them all. Yet she had emerged victorious, not through technology alone, but through heart, skill, and resilience. As the days turned into months, Lyra and Kale began to build a home on the moon. It was modest, functional, and sturdy, a safe place for them and the recruits who worked alongside them. They decorated it with mementos from their journey: sketches of stars and nebulae, small tokens from Earth and Elora, and notes of encouragement they had received along the way. Every object told a story. Every corner held a memory of the challenges they had faced and the victories they had achieved. The outpost itself became a hub of exploration and learning. Lyra led missions to study nearby asteroids, analyze mineral deposits, and explore cave systems. Kale piloted expeditions into orbit, mapping potential routes for future travelers and ensuring the safety of human crews. Their combined efforts turned Theros 9 from a lonely outpost into a center of knowledge and human achievement. One afternoon, while examining a newly discovered cave, Lyra paused to watch a cluster of glowing crystals embedded in the rock walls. They pulsed softly, reflecting light like stars captured in stone. She reached out to touch one, feeling the faint vibration through her fingers. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Kyle joined her, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Just like humans," he said with a smile. "Even in the darkest places, we find a way to shine." The months passed quickly. Word of their accomplishments spread to other colonies, inspiring new generations of humans to venture into space with courage and creativity. Lyra and Kale were no longer just survivors. They were leaders, examples of what humans could achieve when driven by love, determination, and ingenuity. Their story became a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the vastness of the cosmos, human spirit could triumph over isolation, danger, and uncertainty. One quiet evening, as the moons rose high, Lyra and Kale stood on the observation platform, gazing at the stars. "Do you ever think about how far we've come?" Kyle asked. "From leaving our homes to facing the unknown to building this place." Lyra nodded, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "I do, and I think about how much farther we can go. Humans have no limits when we combine courage with creativity, and now we have each other to face the future." They stood together, hand in hand, feeling the weight of everything they had endured and the promise of everything still ahead. The universe was vast, full of mystery and danger, but it was also full of opportunity, and Lyra knew that as long as humans held to their ingenuity, resilience, and heart, they could overcome any obstacle, no matter how impossible it seemed. The outpost flourished. Young explorers trained under Lyra and Kale, learning both technical skills and the lessons of bravery and perseverance. Systems were improved, habitats expanded, and new routes into space were mapped. Every small achievement was a victory, a testament to the power of humans working together, inspired by purpose and guided by hope. And amidst all of it, Lyra and Kale built a life together, simple, strong, and full of love. They celebrated small victories, shared quiet moments under the moons, and planned for a future where humans could continue to explore and thrive in the stars. They had left everything behind, risked everything, and in doing so, had discovered a life greater than they had ever imagined. Finally, as the moons cast a soft glow over Theros 9, Lyra whispered into the night, "We've come so far, and this is just the beginning." Kale smiled, drawing her close. "Just the beginning," he agreed. Together they looked up at the stars, ready to face whatever the universe held next, confident in the knowledge that humans, with courage and heart, could endure anything. And so, on a small moon in a distant galaxy, humanity's spirit shone brighter than ever. Lyra had left everything behind for love, and in doing so had proven that humans could overcome any challenge, adapt to any danger, and thrive even in the harshest corners of the cosmos. Their story was one of survival, ingenuity, and the unstoppable power of the human heart, a story that would inspire generations of explorers to come. The universe was vast. The unknown was endless. But as long as humans faced it together, with determination, intelligence, and love, nothing could stop them. Lyra looked at Kale, then at the horizon, and felt a quiet certainty. They had survived. They had triumphed, and their journey, like humanity itself, had only just begun.